Module 3 is based on Chapter 6. You'll notice that we're going to continue skipping around in the textbook, and the reason for that is I hope to give you a better understanding of healthcare finance by moving around as opposed to following the structure that's provided in the textbook. This is the first PowerPoint section. There will be one more for this module after this section. We're going to talk about revenue determination. Now, hopefully you recall that we've spent a little bit of time, we're going to spend a lot more, a little bit of time on how a financial manager, doesn't matter what your position is, putting your financial manager hat on, how important it is for you to look at the ways to maximize revenue and reduce expenses. Two important areas. Our focus right now is going to be on the pricing mechanism of the healthcare organization. And the term price usually represents the amount that exists in the healthcare firm's CDM, Charge Description Master. CDM, Charge Description Master. Now there are a few factors that influence pricing. The first one is the desired net income. Now you think, okay, that's kind of elementary, but it's not. The goal is always to keep a positive bottom line as opposed to a negative one. Nobody wants to run in the red. But over and above breaking even, you want, even though you're not for profit, you want to make sure that you have a positive bottom line, because there are things that you need to do, capital improvements being one. You need the cash, the money, in order to accomplish those objectives. So, number one, what is the desired net income? The second area is competitive position. Two components here that I want to look at. One is the quality. Now, everybody wants the best quality around. I mean, that's always the number one value system in any, it should be, in any healthcare organization. Well, it costs money to have quality, high quality. So you want to make sure that you have the pricing mechanism in place to offset the cost of the quality. The second area I want to look at is the payer mix. We spent a little bit of time on that in the last module. We'll spend a few minutes on it in a minute or so here. But not all payers pay the total charge. You know, organizations know in advance the approximate percentage that is paid by each payer mix. Therefore, you've got to calculate that in your pricing mechanism. Setting the prices. Talks about here the failure to incorporate the four factors will make a difference whether you can survive or not. So let's look at the four factors. One, average costs. We need to know what our costs are. We can't develop a price mechanism without knowing what our cost is. Number two are the losses on third-party fee schedule payments, especially for Medicare and Medicaid and other insurances too. Write-offs on self-pay. If you're a self-pay patient, and hopefully you aren't, but if you happen to be, and your charge is, let's say, your bill is $1,000 for that particular procedure, and you have no insurance. So you go to the facility and you say, okay, I'd like to pay this bill, but I don't want to pay it all. So you negotiate a price lower than what the charge is. So let's say you come up and agree to a $900 figure as opposed to the $1,000 charge. Well, it's better for you that that you saved $100. The hospital is collecting $100 less than their actual charge. So they have to figure this out. They have to make sure they calculate that in the pricing structure itself, because it does happen. Factors that tend to increase prices. Well, a no-brainer is that there are increase in cost every day. Well, hopefully not every day, but close to it. The other one is governmental programs pay less than the cost. I'm just going to focus on this. If your charge, your price is $100, we'll just make it simple here. Medicare doesn't pay the $100. They'll probably pay 90 cents on a dollar, so you get $90 from Medicare. Medicaid pays even less, and let's say they pay 80 cents on a dollar, so they're going to pay you $80. We already know from the previous module that a little less than 60% of the patient mix come from Medicaid and Medicare patients. So therefore, more than half of your charges, of this $100 charge, we're going to get between $10 and $20 less than our charge. We know that right up front. Medicare and Medicaid never pay 100% of the charge. So when we develop our pricing structure, we have to keep in consideration that just because our price is $100 doesn't mean we're going to get paid $100 by close to 60% of our average daily census. So you raise your price to cover your average costs, knowing that a lot of the payer mix will be paying less than your charge. And the same thing with managed care contracts, which we'll talk about in a minute. Oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes these prices are negotiated so that they pay sometimes less than your actual charge, than your price. So these are things that you need to keep in mind. This is the first part of Module 3. And we will continue with the second component in a few minutes.